Alright. Today's project is installing these Echo Master blind spot side view dual camera kit. Alright. It's really easy bolting. I get it, you're gonna miss some of the steps, I'm sorry. But if you come on right here, you just lighten this bolt up. This is on the 22 JLU. This is a diesel, shouldn't matter. All the Wranglers should be the same for this, and I believe the Gladiators. But you're gonna take number 10, you're gonna back up that bolt a little bit, you're gonna push on the camera from the outside. Don't try to fit it in here, it's not gonna fit. And then I did one modification. They want you to like wire this cable and put it underneath this bracket. I don't like that. So I just drilled a little bit bigger hole, moved the cable out of the way, and then I fit this piece right here in through that hole, and then makes it easier for installation. Now, so today I have the Stinger off-road radio installed in here. Thanks from my friend Mike Heitmiller that won it during Easter Jeep Safari. And so what I need to do is, when I installed this radio, there is an amazing amount of wiring you got to fit back here. So I made it work for right now. Now what I'm doing today is I'm going to put in some cable extenders on both sides, and it's for a later project for amplifiers, so I can get into the dash and be plugged into the radio super easy. I'm putting in two of these, one for the left camera, one for the right camera. Now you can use these as color coded, you can use them yellow, red, white. The big thing is I'm going to use a couple of these for cameras, and then two of these for an amp later that hopefully Kicker hooks me up with. But the plan is I'm gonna put the Kicker amplifier down here with a kick panel up underneath, so it's out of the way. And so I'm gonna run the cables for that stuff today, and I'm gonna reorganize a few things, like my light switch, my 3M tape that fucking just fails, you know. First world problems over here. But I'm gonna do a little bit more teardown, and then it'll be a lapse. I'm sorry, but this is more or less for me. Alright, we got most of the dash apart. Only a little bit more is needed. I actually have more apart than you need, but as you can see, that's the what you can see of what's left of the cabling harness. There's actually a ton behind here that you have to jigsaw and fucking put 20 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. Now what I'm doing is just getting rid of some cable management as much as I can from behind here. These are the two cables that go to your monitor, your screen, and then these are your USB charging ports up front if you ever have an issue. Now down here is where I took apart the kick panel and the side panel, and we're feeding the cable through. We're zip tying it up. We're gonna feed it up in through here like we did these other cables, and we're going to connect the cables and then pull the excess back into the kick panel to hide it so it's not all up in here. We're gonna do the same thing over here. Both the cables are pre-staged. I just gotta pull off one of the whites, or sorry, one of the yellows over here. On this one I'll keep these together. On that side I'm only using the one AV connection because I don't need the amp on this side. The amp will be underneath over here. So yeah, that's how it's going so far. So the only bolts you actually have to remove, everything is just pulls apart really easy. So the only two screws you actually have to pull out once you get the other aftermarket or the stock unit out is the two bolts down here, and it removes the face unit, and then you're going to remove the 4 bolts right there, and that's going to dislodge the whole other unit. These Stinger off-roads are really good plug and play. They got videos to show you how to plug all this shit in. They have wiring adapters so you don't have to splice shit. It's really good. Sorry if you can hear the cop in the background to Anaheim. It's any given time of day. People breaking the law. What can I say? Anywho. So, this is the wiring harness I'm talking about that you gotta fit in the back. Yeah, all that shit fits between no room at all. This box has got to go in there. They show you a way to zip tie it all up on here. I'm not saying it's not good. It probably is good. But I needed to get back to... Oh, don't worry. We just had another ambulance again. I just needed to get back to this stuff over here. My video cables and plug in. I'm also going to plug in my amps, pull them out of the dash so I don't have to get in here again. Alright. Now, hold on. Wish I could go back in time to... I gotta pause that. I gotta go. This is the Stinger radio. We're going to the cameras. Start engine to resume. Okay. Figuring it out. I'm sorry, people. Cameras. Is that the only camera spot? Okay. So that appears to be the only camera spot. Okay. So if that's true, you're telling me, I wonder if that's got to be in camera 2 first. Where did I put camera 2 at? Camera 2 should be right here. System. Let's turn it off for a minute. Gotta do some digging and figure out why this their camera's not coming up. To be continued. Alright, I need to finish. I'm gonna make a box. It's gonna put right here. It's gonna be all this extra cable shit. That's why I left it so long. I know it looks messy. I want it to look fucking clean like I did all this other stuff. Put in another, that's my power for the cameras I just put in. Blind spot mirrors. Alright. Still got a little bit of the dash torn apart, because I'm still working on some stuff. But, so for those of you that buy the Stinger off-road cameras, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get blind spot side view dual cameras for the 2018 and up JL and JT Gladiator. These are made by EcoMaster. You can go straight to them, or you can go to Stinger Off-Road. I went to Stinger Off-Road because I like to pay more. Sorry. So, with the blind spot mirrors, you'll have to do a couple steps, okay? So you'll have to go into settings, and you'll have to go in here to your system settings. Then you're gonna have to come down here into installer settings, okay? It's gonna ask you for a passcode. It is on the information packet that you received with the radio, okay? Sorry, but you can't see mine because I don't know if they're all the same, and internet's forever. So, once you enter your passcode, you'll come into here, and you have all your different settings, okay? So, you might have to do an update. I haven't done any updates on any of this stuff yet, so, yeah. So you'll go in there to advanced vehicle settings. You'll go into camera settings, and by default, depending on how your Gladiator or JL cam, you'll have a rear-facing camera and possibly a front-facing camera. I only had the rear-facing camera, so it's factory camera. It's my rear. But you can set these to however you want. I have camera 2 plug is the left, camera 3 plug is the right, and camera 4 I have is front, but it's just so I don't have to go back in here and change it later. But that extra cable is just tucked in here with the dash with my other amps out from my radio head unit, so when I don't have to break down the dash again. I already pulled 3 foot of cable in there. Probably more than I need, but the plugs are now in there so I can switch them out in the dash, and I don't have to get up in this anymore. So one thing you will have to do if you want to retain your USB function to your Stinger radio is run this cable. Don't do what I did and don't run that cable. Your phone won't connect to your radio, okay? You can still connect by Bluetooth, but you'll need that phone jack in there to plug in your phone. There's a workaround to use this plug still to do that. I just didn't want to fucking tear this part of my dash up, even though I had it up earlier. But so anyways, side tangent. So once you're done in here and you set up your cameras, and it's pretty much, I have the low speed override off, and I have my triggers off when that's the setting, okay? So when you get done with all this, you're gonna go back to your cameras, and you're gonna see your cameras, and that's my right side, and that's my left side. I have the door open, give me 1 second. That's my driver's side, okay? Touch screen again. You can go to your rear, okay? I have an aftermarket bumper, that's why it's looking at the sky. I got to make some tubular mount with my welder later and fix that bolt-on bumper. Anywho, so once you're done with that, the Stinger High 10 off-road radio kit, whatever it's called, it's actually really good. My buddy won it. Family friend of ours won this radio for my JL at Easter Jeep Safari, and we installed it out at Moab. Well, and it was working great. There was just a couple things I didn't have the right cabling for that I wanted to run. Like, eventually this cable hanging down here along with this cable is going to go into a box right here, and that's going to be able to toggle on and off my radios. As you can see, I just have them jumpered right now. I don't care if it's safe, it works. It's not going to be running like that. I'm going to disconnect that until I get my switch in tomorrow, make my box. I got to 3D print some stuff, and that'll be done probably Tuesday. Everything else on this radio, I'm going to show you some quick snippets. So I have this set up for what I want to see, because I also have a Banks in the corner. My Banks does my turbo output, my fuel pressure rails, because I want to know we got those bad fuel pumps. That shit hit zero, I need to turn off my Jeep because I just grenaded my pump. Other than that, you got your trans temp, your oil temps, you have your mini dyno in here, if you will, and it's all set up, and you can change these just by pushing on them. You can literally just come in here and look at whatever you want to if you click long enough. Alright, so that being said, this radio is top notch. I didn't have to cut anything to wire it into the harness. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward install. They got some really good videos out there for from Stinger Off-Road for specific each vehicle. I believe they have a video for every one of their radio kits. They're done really well, and they're real plug and play. There's a couple things they don't go over on the videos, but I think it's more of a, because it's a general install and they don't go through every step, because the video would be a couple hours long. But those of you that have installed it, you know the short talkings I'm coming about. Like the camera trigger lights, yeah, I could plug those into whatever to trigger the cameras. I want to just be able to click it, and that's why I'm going to have the toggle switch for the power on them. The other thing is the 12 volt in the Stinger radio. It does read 12 volts on a multimeter. However, that would not power either of my cameras up one at a time, whatever. Just the screen would flash a little bit, not really do anything. It wouldn't say no signal, it just wouldn't come on, if you will. Once I ran a jumper straight to the battery, to the 12 volt, the cameras worked fine. So I just put an inline fuse in that on a toggle switch. That's what I was talking about earlier that I'm going to finish installing. And then I'll be able to toggle power to those cameras whenever I want to, so they won't drain the battery. Just future warning. I used to work on Blackhawk, so I'm used to turning everything off. If you install a toggle switch, make sure you know to turn that shit off, or it'll drain your battery over time. You can have different like battery disconnects and stuff like that. I like keeping stuff simple, less things to break. Man, so this is my JL build, and I'm doing a lot of the electrical in here just because I like things ran a certain way. Trying to stay away from all the factory harnesses. I installed two 6x9s in the tub. I ripped out the harness except for the plug up here that goes the watertight, so I kept it watertight minus, you know, the bottom. As long as the cones don't break on the speakers, it's watertight. But yeah, I got the rotopacks in the back. Anywho, Stinger 10 shit. It's a great radio, man. There's a lot of different options on here. You can connect your phone, do Android Auto, you can do the Apple CarPlay. Google Maps on here works really well. They do have a navigation setup for the Stinger radio. As you can tell, I do have my geo points and I do have my altitude, and it is very accurate. However, there is a couple caveats. So the GPS on this, the navigation system that you can buy an add-on for like 150 bucks, 200 bucks, or whatever it is, I've been read a lot that it's outdated. So I've been using my Google phones. Now, I don't know if you can download trails and stuff for this, or maps on your own, or if you get the nav. I can only speak for what I read, so what I know is shit. But everything else I'm very impressed with, so the nav thing might be a user error for the people having problems. I won't speak until I end up getting it, if I end up getting it. I'm on kind of a tight budget, being retired from the Army, and health has me unable to work most times. So kind of getting to this when I can get to this. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Just give me some time to answer.